Yay, okay. All right, so second lesson in our unit 2 about publication. We're going to start off by doing a couple of things that authors have to do in order to prepare for publication. So today we're talking about bios and blurbs. Before your book hits the shelves, there are a couple things that you need to prepare. So starting off with what do people need to know about you and your book? All right, first off, you need an author bio. All right, so this is just like a little blurb about the author. You guys probably have seen them at the back of books. They're generally there. Not a lot of, I don't know how often people actually read them, but they're always there. So readers often want to know more about the author, who they are, where they're from, and what makes them the right person to write this book. So this is not only for readers, but this is also for publishers. So especially if you're trying to find an agent or an editor sometime, you're going to need to have a bio that they're gonna read and look for. So I have a couple of examples. They're both from me. So this is my example that I have on my website. This is just for the readers, fun little thing, little bio about me. I live my life like a Studio Ghibli movie. Every moment is full of magical potential and thematic background music. So that kind of gives a little just flavor, a little vibe check for me. I don't know what I'm saying. All right, English born and world traveled. I love filling my life with new adventures, such as visiting a new country or exploring the Wild West with my husband. I find escape in movies, literature, music, and yearly comic conventions. With my childhood best friend, Talia Rothschild, I co-authored The Immortal Game, our debut novel. So that's just really short, really small, but those were kind of the most important things I wanted people to know about me. I'm creative. I love exploring new places. I'm super nerdy, and I love, all of the arts. That's what I kind of wanted to get out there. Okay, so this was my for the readers. This next one is longer. This is my for the publishers. So this is what I send to agents or editors, whoever I'm looking for. Okay, I'm a high school physics teacher born in England, having immigrated to the USA when I was young. I have about 7 billion hobbies, and I don't have enough time for, but writing is not one of them. Writing is a passion and a calling. Though I received my bachelor's in science, I've always pursued constant creative writing education. I earned a position in Brandon Sanderson's BYU workshop class and attended multiple years of university writing classes, as well as constantly attending literature retreats and conferences. I have multiple short works published in literary magazines, a few of which received awards. My crowning achievement is a co-authored YA fantasy novel, The Immortal Game, published through Fierce Reads in 2021. I've never stopped pursuing publication. I believe creativity should be shared, and it would be a dream come true to be able to support my family as an established author. So this is a little bit more down to business. I kind of give a little introduction about myself, my passions, what I like to do for fun, and then I give my credentials. This is why I believe that I would be successful as a published author if you put your if you backed me up here. So this is what I've done. I name dropped Brandon Sanderson, talked about things that I've had published previously, and then talk about my hopes and dreams. This is something that I'm seriously committed to. So kind of depending on your audience, whether it's just for readers or whether it's for a more serious crowd, you're gonna put some different things in your bio. But for the most part, this is what you should stick to. Introduce yourself, highlight your accomplishments and your uniqueness. So what makes you special? What makes you the person who's going to be writing these awesome books that people are going to love to read? But try to keep your ego out of it. You do want to be a little bit hey, look, there's a reason that I'm going to be good at this, and you should take a chance and read my stuff. But don't be snobby and braggish and keep it chill. Imply why you'll be successful as an author or why your books are the ones people want to read. And then especially for publishers, include any skills or experience that make people understand why your writing is going to be quality. Now we're going to talk a little bit about blurbs. All right, so every book needs a good blurb. This is generally on the back or on the inside depending on if it's a hardback or paperback or whatever. Ours actually has a blurb on the inside and a little snippet from the book on the back. But every book has a blurb giving you a taste of what's inside. Something short and sweet that people can skim to just like entice them to read the whole thing. You guys have probably heard this one before, but I'm going to read it again. This is our blurb for the Immortal Game, because I'm the example that I'm giving. Okay. So, Galeen, daughter of Poseidon, desperately wants to earn her place among the gods. So, first line, I've introduced my character. I've introduced kind of like the setting of this book. Greek gods, Poseidon. She has a goal. Character, setting, goal. Right off the bat. All right, but when a violent attack leaves Mount Olympus in chaos and ruins, she's accused of the crime. Banished from Olympus, Galeen sets out to prove her innocence and discovers a more deadly plot, one that threatens even the oldest of immortals. All right, so character, setting, motivation, and kind of like a hint at the plot. She got framed for this crime. There's this deceptive thing going on. A lot of times I'll just kind of like put that little snippet in and cut out the rest of it because you don't really need the rest of it. You could leave it just like that first paragraph and be like, yeah, okay, that's a pretty good little blurb. But with our book, we have 4 different character perspectives. So we wanted to include a little bit about the other characters because she's not the only perspective that we're reading from. She's the main character, but we've got some other ones. So we included, fortunately, she has allies who willingly join her in exile. A lifelong friend who commands the wind, a defiant warrior with deadly skill, a fire wielder with a hero's heart, a mastermind who plays life like a game. So we've introduced our characters and a little thing that makes them interesting to kind of just be like, ooh, those people sound cool and fun. And then one last hook for the plot. All-out war is knocking at the gates. Galeen and her friends are the only ones who can tip the scales towards justice, but their choices could save Olympus from total annihilation or be the doom of them all. Okay, so you usually want to end with something that's like, ooh, there's something going on here. Is it going to work out well or is it not going to work out well? And it's kind of like a little cliffhanger or like something that's like, you know, enticing to be like, this sounds like an interesting plot. I want to go along for this journey. Ooh. So, some general tips for a good blurb. Introduce the characters as soon as possible is the best. And then why are these the main people in the plot? So, Galeen is the main character because she got framed and she got sent into exile. So she's the one that this is all happening to. She wants to clear her name. And also, like, her friends are really loyal to her and they wanted to, like, support her and get to the bottom of this plot. So those are our characters. Why are they the main characters? What's so special about them? Highlight why the book is unique and different from others in the genre. So honestly, like at the time we published this book, there weren't a lot of Greek mythology books out there. So there's nothing like crazy, like special or different, or like, oh, it's a Greek mythology plot, action adventure. We wanted to highlight that we had a bunch of different characters who were going to be interesting and fun. So that's kind of the main thing that we did. But if you're like, okay, my book is just like your typical YA Dragon Knight fantasy book, you're definitely going to want to put something in there that's like, okay, why is this one different from all of the other Dragon Knight fantasy books out there? Just like a little hint of something unique and cool. And then tease at the plot and the conflict, because, you know, the plot and the conflict is generally what gets people excited and interested. Like, ooh, this is a story about, you know, betrayal and whatever. I like those kinds of stories. But you don't want to give away the goods. You don't want to spoil anything. You don't want to hint anything too much. So leave something for them to find out in the book.